Hey, good evening from the Linglestown Gazette studios here in Linglestown in the infamous news shed. This is Bill Bostic with Linglestown Gazette Live, and we'll slate this show for Monday, February 9th, 2026. Can you believe Valentine's Day is rolling right around this weekend? Have a big show for you, including breaking news that I just found about a number of things and reviewing some things online here. So hang in here. We're going to go through some preliminaries, and then we'll get into the meat of the show, taking a look at Lower Paxton Township leadership issues and other things related to that. As always, we are sponsored by a company here in the Linglestown area. That would be Blue Line Pools and Outdoor Living, located on North Mountain Road, just a couple doors down from the Turkey Hill Minute Mart. And to show you what they do, I mean, they do beautiful outdoor work, custom patios and custom pools. And what I want to show you tonight, let me get down to it. Take a look at this. Look at this backyard. You know, beautiful hardscape, you know, with and a pool there. Over on the right-hand corner, a place to hang out, probably have some snacks or food, whatever. Just beautiful. And then a little bit different look, give you this. This would be, I guess, like an extended patio type of thing, but a beautiful backyard. And the thing I like about it is you don't have to mow it. You just have to maintain some of the planting areas. But that's just a sample of the kind of work that Blue Line Pools and Outdoor Living does here in the greater Linglestown area. Okay. I was getting some noise from another thing. I have to turn that off. Just bear with me here. All right. Hopefully that won't come back. All right. Yeah, I'm going to bring Anthony Cristillo in here for our icebreaker session. Anthony, how are you doing over there in Colonial Park?
You almost lost me. It's getting close. What time is it? 8:20?
8:18.
Oh.
What time do you go to bed, man?
8 o'clock.
Well, this is very important. We have a lot of stuff happening, and you want
a lot of breaking news.
But just a quick note. What did you think of the Super Bowl?
I know I owe you coffee. You should have reminded me this morning. All right, don't rub it in.
Did you watch Bad Bunny?
Who?
Bad Bunny. He was
we saw a couple minutes of it. You know, he's not my cup of tea. The only Bad Bunny I know is this stupid Bad Bunny in my garden every year eating my tomatoes that my granddaughter likes to eat. So, but that's not my kind of music, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I have Bad Bunnies underneath my shed, believe it or not. I don't know if they're there right now. And I did mention last week about getting a new dog. So I want to introduce you to Sandy.
Oh, nice eyes.
Yeah, she's part husky.
Yeah.
And then this afternoon, you threw this at me. I want you to talk about this. What in the heck are we doing here?
So I'm going to have a few of those hats made up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sort of follows someone by the name of Trump.
That's from my potential campaign manager, Joe Hoover.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that puts a wrap on our icebreaker. And I'm going to bring you back in just a moment. I'm going to go into our sports report provided by Linglestown Gazette Sports. Nice enough to provide some updates on what's happening with Central Dauphin teams in the school district. The top story is that the Central Dauphin High School girls wrestling team has won the inaugural District 3 tournament. If you have to have all the information, the division is 3A, but it's District 3 schools in our area. They won that wrestling championship here recently. The Central Dauphin boys are headed into the playoffs. The playoffs tomorrow night. Tomorrow night they'll be playing at Mechanicsburg. They're the top seed in District 3, so they're, we're hopeful that they go through that tournament and are deemed or crowned champions. The Central Dauphin girls also playing at Mechanicsburg tomorrow night. They're going into that tournament, the second seed. Central Dauphin East boys have had a much better season this year, and they're actually in the District 3 playoffs. So big improvement for them, and congratulations to the Panthers for making the playoffs. And the last note is the Central Dauphin East girls basketball team is currently not in the playoffs, but if some things happen with 2 games to go, they still have an outside chance of making their way into the 16-team field here in District 3. So generally speaking, all the a whole set of teams here are doing great in Central Dauphin School District. Again, I want to thank Linglestown Gazette Sports for that quick update. And that brings us to our new news session, and we're going to bring back Anthony and also introduce a new guest, Jeff Klare.
Hey,
Jeff,
how are you?
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, sure. And Jeff's very familiar with Lower Paxton Township. He worked for the township for a period of time as a resident, and you've lived all over the country, haven't you, Jeff?
Couple of times getting around.
But you're making Lower Paxton Township your home now, I believe, based on what we talked about the other day.
Yeah, we bought a beautiful house in Linglestown.
Okay. Well, you're my neighbor unknowingly. I live on the east side of the village near Coons Park.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
So, Bill, you going to let me break some news?
Well, let's do this first. I want to,
Okay.
before we get into the meat of all that kind of thing, I won't steal your thunder, but
Okay.
the school board will be meeting tomorrow night. They meet at the office building that used to be the township building on Howks Road, and their agenda really doesn't have nothing heavy duty for sure, other than I noted they're going to be spending $265,000 purchases for their kindergarten center. You know, they have those 3 office buildings plus the former administration building over at CD East High campus. Those 4 buildings are converting into a kindergarten center that'll start up full-time kindergarten next fall. So that's the biggest thing I saw on that agenda. And then a couple of things we won't talk about tomorrow night. Lower Paxton Township they're going to be meeting at 7 o'clock at the Township Municipal Center on Prince Street. I think it's 425 Prince Street. Other than the key things that Anthony's going to talk about, Coons Park, the basketball court, they're going to be approving a contract for improvements of the basketball court, $280,000 project.
Wow.
And I think some of that money is coming through grants of various kinds. And then there's going to be a report from the Lower Paxton Township Historical Commission. Since the spring, they've been very heavily involved in resurrecting a cemetery that has Revolutionary War era people buried in it. It's called Newside Cemetery, not too far away from Central Dauphin East High School. So that's just a quick overview. Now there's more things happening at the township meeting tomorrow night. Take it away, Anthony. What do you have to share?
Well, you know, Bill, if anybody wonders if your newscast for this local news isn't working, I think this proves that it is getting out. Number one, Penn Live picked up your story and ran with it.
Yeah,
yesterday,
Friday.
I believe it was, or over the weekend.
Yeah.
And, you know, this all goes to, you know, all the talk we were mentioning about what Pamela Thompson ended the meeting with last week. And on
Pamela
the
Thompson's she's the chair of the
she's
board
the chair,
currently.
the current
Yeah.
chair. But that ends tomorrow since they've censored her, and she'll be stepping down as chairperson of the board tomorrow at the meeting. So apparently they had the 3 votes they needed to censure her or whatever
Well,
rules
yeah,
needed to happen. But
I have some
there's-
details as far as the censure.
Yeah.
What it says is that there's a statement or a resolution they're going to be looking at and passing that most likely it says that she made statements in a setting closely connected to her official role as chair of the board that were unprofessional and a misuse of her position in connection with an implied self-serving fundraising request. So that's what, yeah.
confirms my ethics complaint that I filed, where I got maybe 3 or 4 people getting, you know, throwing some hate my way. And instead of listening to what and focusing on what the issue that we were talking about was, that Pamela Thompson violated, it was an ethics violation, plain and simple, very clear. And, you know, you had 3 or 4 people that want to take it to the next level. The same old tired message of because she's a woman, because she's black. It has nothing to do with that. And this just proves it. But, so I'm glad that they're making the right move, and she's going to officially, it says here, adopt a resolution to censure her, and she's going to, and there's a letter of acceptance from Thompson to permanently rescind her position as chair of the board. Well, that's good. That's a start.
Let's have Jeff weigh in here a little bit on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I mean, we all knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious to find out which one of the supervisors will take over that chairmanship's role.
Yeah, I looked at the agenda, and it doesn't have a specific item as far as electing a new chair, but I would assume once she resigns officially, they're going to have to go through a process and appoint a new chair,
Well, I don't
I
know.
would think.
Yeah, I'm not sure if because John Campbell's the vice chair, if he moves
Yeah,
into that
that could-
position temporarily. I'm not
that's
sure.
right.
Yeah, so
There's no agenda item to appoint a new chair tomorrow night.
sure.
So that may be the case. He'll take over, John Campbell.
But this
Yeah.
is a step in the right direction. And
Yeah.
just so everybody's clear, if I could just clear up this whole surveillance thing.
Okay, go ahead.
It wasn't technically surveillance. Okay, let's just call it what it was. Under Brad Gottschall's, while he was the manager, for good reason, he wanted the data pulled off of the key fobs because not only her, but others were going into the township offices at all hours of the day and night, especially at night. And there was allegedly somebody making copies of paperwork and taking it outside the township building and sharing that out. I'm all for what Brad did because that's what those key fobs are aboard. I used to be in the GPS tracking business, and companies would buy tracking devices off me all the time to put in employees' vehicles to find out if they're being used off hours. And, that's what it's all about. That's why you have those key fobs to track who's in and out. And he also, I guess, put cameras near the copy machines, and she's calling it surveillance, and it's just nonsense. So that's what the surveillance was. It was not surveillance.
And do
at
you
all.
remember?
And Jeff,
well,
you can add to that, right?
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. So, Brad was the township manager. He had an obligation and a right to know who was coming and going, where the paperwork was flying out the door. So they did put up cameras. They did check our key fobs, and they also checked our city phones. He checked our emails. I had no fault because there was nothing to hide.
Right.
So I don't know if I'm going to call this surveillance. I think that's a ridiculous word to use here.
Unless Brad was parked out in a white panel van outside of her house, maybe.
Maybe he put a bush on his head like a sniper. That's the reality of it is Brad did his job.
Yeah, I mean that's you could say other things, but we're not going backwards on all that.
Right.
That stuff, but that I just wanted to so everybody knew what this surveillance was. That wasn't surveillance, but
it made Pamela angry, I believe, based that she took it that way, and that's why she went down the path she did.
Yeah, well, so moving forward,
right.
I'm still going to speak tomorrow night because, I have a couple questions for the other members. One, Charles Stewart said while he was on the other side of the table, sitting in the audience all this time while he was, getting up and speaking at the meetings and voicing his concerns about the previous board and throwing accusations at them that, were unfounded. But I'm just remembering a lot of statements he made during his campaign that if he failed to live up to what he promised or his colleagues did, he would resign or he would step down if he didn't. But yet they sat up there and it took them almost a week to announce that they would make a move on And I really think, Bill, it's all because of your show and how you put it out there. Is
Uh-huh.
it put the pressure on him because he
Yeah.
just look at the traction that story got. If not, Charlie Stewart wouldn't have said anything. Kate Shive does so much research. She does more research than anybody I've ever known in my life. And yet she didn't research this. And, everybody knows that I supported Robin Lindsay's opponent. I accept that our people lost and they won. Okay, it's over. But
Right.
I don't agree with Robin. I don't think she did a good job. My opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinions,
Sure.
and but she won. And I said that in my opinion they should put her there back in that position only because of her time on the board,
Right.
not because I think she's the best person for the job. I just think it's a lesser of all the others.
Yeah.
It's lesser of evil. But can I say one more breaking news?
Sure.
thing?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
John Jean, who was running and Robin had beat,
Well, he had also been an interim supervisor for about 6
interim
months.
supervisor,
Yeah.
and had the engineer and had all the connections with PennDOT and got things rolling on our road issues, was
Right.
able to set up a meeting coming up March 4th with PennDOT for the board. So he was able to still make those connections. March 4th from 1 to 3 p.m. he has a meeting secured for the board members to have a sit down with the folks from PennDOT. Now, there's a guy that's not even in the position, but he still is reaching out and making these connections and making things happen. So I thought that was great. I'm happy John did that. And I got so much more running through my head, but
Well, let's see what Jeff. Do you want to weigh on anything
go
there?
ahead, Jeff. Jeff, I'm sorry to take all their time away. I got a
No,
lot to
it's
say.
all good news. So I don't have anything to talk about, John, but there are some issues with the mall that I think the board needs to pick up on and run with,
Right.
and not put this off for another 2, 5, 10 years, because the mall will be worth less than it is now. So my concern, because I've been in this rodeo before, there is no transportation to and from the mall late at night. So if that mall gets redeveloped, there's going to be a workforce development issue.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have enough on the lower scale hourly workers because they can't come here from other parts because of transportation issues. And if
You're talking about like buses, things like that.
Yeah, if you're making $15, $18, $20 an hour after taxes, you've got a family to support, you're going to have a problem. There is very little affordable housing or low-cost housing within the township. Actually, I was told to my face, we don't want it here. And so there's some serious concerns about the development of the mall. And I'm just putting that out there. And I'll talk about that at the board meeting tomorrow night.
Yeah, without a doubt, I agree with Jeff that the economic development issues, especially with the mall, is just critical and needs immediate attention. And I think the pathway that's been described to me that makes sense to me is that even though the prior board did not plug in the budget to hire an economic development director, this board can pass a motion to put those dollars in place and hire somebody. And then step 2 would be, we have people in the township that are willing to help this board put together an economic development authority. And we work together as a community, neighbor with neighbor, not Republican versus and Democrat, but us as a community work toward turn this thing around. And we only have to look across the river to the area of Capital City Mall and how that's thriving. The process I just described is what they did. So that's got to be key. I think we're all in agreement there on that one.
Laura Kurtz has offered, from what I understand, numerous times to help them, and she has the knowledge and the background to help them with this issue. And I just, for the life of me, can't figure out why this isn't the top of their list. We asked them that, or not we, Eric Kessler asked them that at the meeting a couple weeks ago, and Pamela's response was, "We have other employment issues, and that's at the bottom of the list."
Right.
She's messed. That's just.
Well, I've thought about this, Anthony. Now, as a new board, I mean, there are some restrictions with the sunshine law in the state. Like prior to them getting into office, they couldn't gather legally in a room and talk about it. Now that they're in office, they can hold a public hearing and talk about it openly. They can go to Michael Gossard, our manager, and seek help from him.
Yeah.
There's steps they can take tomorrow to start this process.
So, and that's the other thing with Mike, they, now with Pamela out as chair, and hopefully this, she moves her office out of there, because I understand she moved right into somebody's office when they left.
We've got multiple reports.
It was my office.
Yeah, I know.
Your office.
I know. I didn't want to say that, Jeff, but she moved into your office, and they gave her, this board, I guess, gave her 30 days, but she moved in. Now, just so everyone understands, she moved into that office right after Jeff left. Mm-hmm. So that was during the last board. Right. And why she has a office, I don't understand, because I've talked to other townships, guys that have been, managers at other townships, and it's not a common practice for a supervisor to have an office.
But
if she's going to have one, they all need one.
Yeah. Well, the bigger point is that when you're elected a township supervisor, you're not elected to work with the day-to-day operations of the township. That's the township manager.
Mike's making a good salary, and his job is, as manager, is to deal with the employees and all the department heads. He then deals with the supervisors. They have to understand that chain of command, okay? And she was going to other department heads, getting paperwork and financial information, asking questions. I mean, this craziness has to stop, and people have to understand that's what we're talking about when we do these videos and these with the Gazette. It's not sour grapes. And just a note on the sour grapes thing, I don't eat sour grapes. I eat sour cherries. Okay. So who was it? Tom Gingrich said,
I don't know.
I eat sour grapes. I never eat sour grapes, sour cherries. So, but we're not sore losers. We're not sour grapes. We're just telling you the facts. Okay. And the facts are, this board has to get together real quick, because they're not all on the same page. You can tell they're not working together at all.
Right.
And it's really going to be bad for our township. Listen, let's be honest. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican.
No.
If to be a supervisor, we all want the same thing. We want good roads. We want safe parks. We want good business brought into the township. There's another stupid smoke shop and beer distributor going in at Sofa's Unlimited. I mean, I don't mean to bash the guy if he's watching. He's a business owner. I get it. But this is where an economic development person really comes into play. He's working with.
Well, he's representing the township as someplace good to come in.
Selling the township to good stuff.
And court businesses, yeah.
But
so,
Bill,
go ahead, Joe.
Let me just jump in for a second.
Sure.
The municipality has over 55,000 residents.
Right.
That's not a number to sneeze at.
Right.
And so we are one of the only municipalities that I visited that doesn't require a business permit. So with that being said, we don't know what businesses are moving in. We don't know what are moving out. We don't know who's suffering, because we just don't require it. And so what I brought to two of the board members last week, even if it was just $5 to file for a business permit, it'll give us the ability to track the data. When I was talking to Marriott about building a hotel and conference center on the mall property, they were asking me how many cars went up and down Colonial Road or down Jonestown Road. And yet we don't even have a clue to what businesses we have in this town. That is a major issue.
Jeff, a question on the study on the count. When I had some Sprint Nextel stores in that business, and we'd go into an area, the realtor would give us the data on the traffic, flow and what was going on there. So that'd be more of a developer issue or realtor issue, getting that together for the potential retailer, I would think. So I don't know that that's unusual, right, for a township not to have that information, if I'm correct. I mean, I'm just saying if Wegmans or somebody wanted to come into the township and build a store, they would do with their people the study on the traffic count.
True, but there are certain advantages for the township to have that knowledge prior to having those meetings.
Yeah.
So
you can include it in your literature and things like that you would share with different businesses, I guess.
except we have no literature.
Yeah, you know how. Yeah, no one's really representing the township at this point.
And that's what we need.
Yeah, there's got to be somebody that a major company who wants to open here can call and have a conversation. Look at the owner of the mall property now. He can speak with community development, but other than that, talking about any other kind of financing issues, there's no one to really talk to.
Right.
So, Pamela Thompson making a decision to resign sort of made this episode a little bit easier. That was one of the things that was still out there. We didn't know what was going to happen until the agenda was released sometime today. So that made our jobs a little bit easier as far as working our way through this. But again, my recommendation would be that this board needs someone to rise up to be a leader, and so that they can work through these issues and help the other supervisors go down these roads. So it'll be interesting to see, whether anyone does rise up and actually does some leadership.
Maybe it's John Campbell. Tell you, I mean, he has a good resume.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. But I guess when I spoke the other week about the ridiculous resolution they passed from day one about paying employees volunteer time, 8 hours each, I keep going back to that. And he used it's for employee morale. I mean, that just was the worst answer ever. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. I still can't believe they passed that resolution to allow employees to work 8 hours a year and get paid to volunteer, where the whole thing about volunteer is volunteering. So
yeah,
I wish they would
if you get paid, you're not volunteering.
Yeah, you're not a volunteer. So I think that was, something else that Robin had brought to the table and they passed it. But I wish they would rescind that. I really want that to go away. I mean, because hey, Jeff, do you know this answer? I wanted, how many employees, not the police force, but just employees does the township have? Do we know that number?
I thought the total was approximately 400.
Okay, 400. Okay, so at 400, that 8 hours per employee is, and just using an average number of $20 an hour, just for easy figuring, that's $64,000. That's part of a salary for an economic development person. Okay.
Sure.
So let's get rid of that resolution. That's our next push. They need to get rid of that.
Yeah. Well, I think the good thing we can maybe close this down on is that with Pamela making that decision to step down, and now they have a chance to reorganize. This is a fresh start for this group. They get a second chance to start moving forward, hopefully with a plan in mind beyond just doing regular day-to-day business that they've been doing. And they start maybe working with the community on the economic development, quickly working with Hodges Heights to fix up the problem there with the compost facility. Be aware that we have development pressures in our school district and working with the school district as best they can, and other things that are going to come up. But clearly, the economic development is what I'd like to see them do.
With that dump site up at Hodges Heights, the recycling facility, okay? And, I guess the complaints have been about dust and noise, and there are steps you can take to fix that.
Right.
And, while Pamela her whole thing was to just shut it down and move and close that site down and move it. Well, that is going to cost a lot of money. because you got to find a piece of ground within the township that you can open up another dump facility.
Hmm.
You have to go through the engineering and the permitting process and all the E&S and all the stormwater. So it's not as easy as just shutting that down and moving to another site. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars just in permitting and engineering fees, not taking into account the price of the land.
Right.
I own a dump site. I know what the costs are. So I hope they really look at that and don't just shut something down and, maybe work something out better with Penn Waste on, they're picking up and dumping at that site all the yard waste, right? I
Right.
mean, I know residents go there and get the mulch in the spring and summer, and my father-in-law's over there all the time in the spring, but just closing it down is not a good move.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's certainly not the first step.
no, not at all. So, Bill, does anybody have any questions?
Let me take a look at the comments here. There are 10 comments. Let's see what we have here. John Jeem is getting some kudos.
John's a good guy. He really is. I mean, I know him personally and his family. He's just a good guy.
Okay. One of the Donnie Paul says, and this is true. I mean, even though the agenda doesn't include an item to reorganize and as far as the officers of the board and get a chair, they could amend it tomorrow night and do it tomorrow night. So we'll see if they do that. And then let's see what else we have. I think they have to accept the chair resignation first to trigger they'll have to accept that. But I think that's pretty much going to happen. Without debate.
Yeah, it was Robin and as a secretary, John Campbell, vice chair. They already have the resolution. They just
And
need to sign it.
Lisa Hoyer saying, is Pamela out? Well, it looks like she is. Just
As
a
chair.
formality at this point as chair. Yeah,
As chair,
she was elected to a 6-year term. She's only starting her 3rd year, so she's still a supervisor.
Baby steps.
Let's see, the mall needs a full redevelopment plan. Well, we've known that for a long time. It's just a matter of and Jeff can tell you, it's not very easy to do that given some of the factors in that mall property. So that's what an economic development director and then a economic development authority would do once we get that in place, hopefully.
Give me some hate messages.
No hate. No hate.
None? Huh. Did my wife comment at all? She came home tonight. She was watching
did not. She did not.
Was,
Chris London, who I think is one of our compatriots there at the coffee shop, he weighed in on the mall there. So it looks like for now, Anthony, you're in a good space.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm still going to speak up tomorrow night. I hope people come to the meeting tomorrow night. We just need to really focus on this and show up and speak and hold them accountable. They made promises during their campaign. So far, they're not keeping them.
Yeah, we're going to have to shut it down because we have a bad connection now that's creeped in. So, Jeff Klare, thank you for coming on tonight, and you're always welcome to join us if you want to.
Jeff, good talking to you, Jeff.
Yeah, Anthony.
Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you, and thanks, Anthony, as always. Again, I'll definitely be back next Monday for another edition of Linglestown Gazette Live, brought to you by Blue Line Pools and Outdoor Living.
Bill, I owe you coffee in the morning.
Yep. I'll be looking forward to that. And then if something big happens, I'll pop on and do an update. So thanks for your viewership. Thanks for checking out Linglestown Gazette. We'll see you no later than next Monday for our next edition. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you, gentlemen.